Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 2, CXQ versus Alice. As things are now getting underway, Alice currently a one-game lead in this series over CXQ. CXQ spawning as the blue Undead on the top right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Alice spawning as the teal Night Elf. Gonna go ahead and speed things up to the 4 times speed, and we'll see what unfolds in this 1v1 game. Now, Alice had opened up with a Warden in game number 1, quickly got to level 4, and I really believe the Mana Stone really tipped things in favor of the Warden. The Warden able to just spam Fan of Knives for what seemed to be like forever and a day, finishing off all of those ghouls and really building up an unsurmountable or irrecoverable lead after taking down that Death Knight as well. That Death Knight just far too much in that forward position, really overcommitted into anything there and then ended up falling apart. Let's see what the Death Knight now offers the table here. Dust of Appearance and Rod of Necromancy quickly purchased and moved out on his merry way. Let's take a look. Are we going to get some skeletal minion action? I do believe so, but you got to remember, you cannot give your opponent free experience with those skeletal minions. If you do, that Warden will just be at a higher level and then cause so many more problems and issues for you. Death Knight decides to double back around, not do very much of anything, but he is buying or taking away time from that Warden from doing any serious creeping. Meanwhile, the Death Knight is also doing a lot of harvesting himself. If he can pull together a large amount of ghouls, he will be quite happy, as we now see skeletal minions joined in on the fight. Warden may try to get some damage onto the skeletal minions here. Archer may try to get in some damage here as well, as a second Ancient of War already comes in. Alice really liking this double Ancient of War strategy, and it does shore up a lot of the common issues that a Night Elf player has against an Undead early on. The big problem right now is that skeletal minion going to end up giving level 2 to that Warden if he is not careful, and it looks like he is not going to be careful. Level 1 Warden chasing after behind, getting to level 2, and that is always the worst thing you want to see when a level as a Death Knight watching you give your opponent that extra level, that extra bit of experience that he wouldn't have normally. Ogre Magi quickly taken down right there. Pure up of Vitality. That Death Knight's going to be a little bit harder to take down, already at 825 hit points, well before it is even at level 2. It should get to level 2 off of the 5-4-3-3 creep camp there, and that's what you see. Mantle of Intelligence also dropped as well, as the Warden may get a Shadow Strike and take down a handful of ghouls right there. There is that poor ghoul, no death coil at all, even though the Death Knight, well, he was on cooldown, hence no death coil there. Ghoul down to 115 hit points. Is it going to be able to get away? Well, no. The Death Knight may be able to get a death coil off there if he tries to get it into position. Is the Death Knight right there? Let's take a look at that. That Ghoul is just regenerating hit points on Blight, and yes, you do regenerate hit points slightly faster on Blight, and that may give him the advantage there. It does, and he does end up surviving a near, well, is it a near life encounter for an Undead unit? I'm not quite sure how to call it. If you are undead and then you die, do you just go in between the state between life and death? Or, well, I'm not 100% sure about that. We'll just say his body almost decomposed right there. Dual Ancients of War, 30 over 40 supply. Death Knight now wandering around the corner here, body blocking against that Warden. Warden, however, with Boots of Speed, now going to be causing some serious problems there, as the Warden able to just walk in, get in a simple shot, and then walk away. Warden needs to be a little bit closer in order to really benefit from that healing, as it looks like it is going to be backing away now, already back up to 570 hit points there, as the Warden may be able to get off another Shadow Strike or two, but does have to be extra careful. It does not want to take any free damage, as the Archer is now pelting back the other way. Are we going to see a Shadow Strike to slow down a Ghoul? Probably not, as the Death Knight has pretty much more than enough mana to deal with any sort of focus fire that the Warden might be able to bring. There's that Death Coil there. Death Knight calculated, saying, you know what, I can just Death Coil here, even though he wasn't below 200 hit points, or 115 hit points rather. I'd rather Death Coil now, so I have that Death Coil later, and I'm still regenerating mana right now. All right, Ancient of War tanking against this 3-1-1 creep camp. Death Knight looks like it stole a little bit of that experience there. Unable to get the item as the Lich now joins in on the fight. Lich sitting at level 1, just joining on the fight, 2/3 of the way to Black Citadel. Not going to have a way to pick up an Orb of Corruption that quickly as the Ancient of War turns around and gets in a quick shot. Ancient of Wonders, dual Ancients of Lore already coming into play here. Tree of Eternity now being added, so it is going to be a quick tech to bears once more as the Lich Death Knight now wandering back over here to the top right. Black Citadel nearing completion. Crypt Fiends being added. And I got to admit, it doesn't really feel like CXQ is putting the pedal to the metal or gassing his teching and leveling all that much. He's still sitting at a level 2 Death Knight, level 1 Lich, and that's not going to be altogether super effective in the upcoming battles. Let's take a look at what's happening here. Death Knight now going to be wandering over back here to the top right, and not quite sure what's happening here. Black Citadel going to be finishing upgrades here in just a second. There you have it, as we are now pulling back creeps, hoping to be able to get in a little bit of free damage onto the Warden. He was trying to make sure that the creeps were between him and his opponent if they did try to engage there, and that just wasn't going to be the case. Meanwhile, Ancient of War tanking a lot of damage here at the 9 o'clock position. Death Knight now looking to engage, and the Warden may be able to get a couple of easy kills. I believe that Troll Trapper is the one that gives. Oh, there's the Death Coil, and the ghouls are going to finish it. No, it does not have the tome. That Death Knight ends up picking up the tome there. We're not able to spot which one it is, but the Warden still wants that little bit of experience. Almost gets that Ogre there. Are we going to see an Ogre Warrior get taken down? Yes, it will, and the level 3 Warden is in play. Level 2 Shadow Strike could really cause a bit of problems here. Ogre Magi now backing up. Are we going to see a bit of damage? No, we are not. There goes the Ogre Magi. Death Knight now seeing that level 3 double Obsidian Statues, which was what was missing in game number 1, as the Lich now about to get to level 2 as well. All right, Warden picking up a second Boots of Speed. Unless we see a second hero, those Boots of Speed are going back to the store, or rather the first pair being returned for half their cost. Not quite sure what the return policy is at the Goblin Merchant, but a Goblin's got to make money somehow. Lich now at level 2. Death Knight going to be getting to level 3. Level 2 Death Coil just around the corner. Druid of the Claw sitting at level 1. Adept training with Mastery training now coming into play. We are pretty much now at 46 over 50 supply. Going to be 50 over 50 here in just a second. There you have it. And now any gold that is going to be harvested is probably going to end up in the bank for a little bit of time, hoping to save and perhaps go into 60 or even 70 supply once you have enough resources. Now, upcoming fight, Moonwells, not that many, only enough for 50 supply. So what is that, 4 Moonwells? 4 Moonwells there. So they are relatively full, and the fact that we are at halfway through the day and all of those Moonwells are still full, that is very good for the Night Elf. So even though the Undead is doing a fairly decent job leveling, those Moonwells are going to be available at the beginning of Nightfall, ready to go, and throughout all of Nightfall as well. So that is going to be a very big issue to try and deal with. Dryads now pressuring over here. It's going to be a little bit of a yin-yang maneuver, trying to head back around over to the south here. What are the Dryads doing? I cannot imagine them trying to creep that with that Warden so far away. That item drop is just far too important. But perhaps the Warden was just pressuring or feigning that he was down below to try and make sure that the Death Knight was not able to freely engage over here down to the south. And now that we see the Warden back off to the north here, Legion of Doom Horror, Unholy Aura, faster rejuvenation, and also faster movement speed. That is going to be extremely helpful, as well as we're now looking at a bit of rejuvenation across the board. All right, Archers, Dryads firing away. Troll Berserker going to get taken down. Troll High Priest doing its best to heal up the remaining units. Scroll of Town Portal being used as all the units are going to get taken down. Are we go? Yes, up to level 4. Level 4 now coming back around. Warden going to try and engage. Death Coil saving a low hit point ghoul for just a moment as the destroyers are up in the air with plenty of mana. I've heard it said that the only way to counter destroyers with mana as a night elf is to wait for the mana to go away. Otherwise, the bears, who do tend to clump together, take far too much damage. However, the destroyers are losing mana. They are so anti-magic, they cannot hold on to the mana that they desperately want and need. Back around here, Obsidian Statue sitting at 440 mana. Both of them going to be replenishing either mana or hit points. They're going to be heading back down here to the south in just a second. 58 over 60 supply. CXQ is looking to be in a good position. Level 3 on the Death Knight, level 2 on the Lich. Once it gets to level 3, they should be able to really melt down that Warden and fairly quickly. That is going to be the big issue, as we now see an attack coming in from the far side. Undead, though, does not really have the army composition to take down buildings all that easily. They're much, much better at taking down or perhaps disrupting or taking down armies with those destroyers and all of that piercing damage. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Ghouls up in the front line. Warden does have that Orb of Venom, able to attack the air. You can see all of that there. Staff of Preservation quickly saving that unit. Fan of Knives coming across as the ghouls may end up getting taken down. There goes one ghoul, but also a bear gets taken down. Detonations may go across the board. And wow, it looks like the Obsidian Statues are now pretty much out of mana, which is going to be an extremely big deal. Shadow Strike onto a Crypt Fiend. Crypt Fiend now taken down as well. Bear might get taken down. There it goes. Level 3 now finally on that Lich. Frost Nova preventing as the Death Knight now seeing at level 4. Death Knight still has plenty to go. Finishing off another bear and perhaps trying to go after more and more bears still. There goes another unit. Death Knight may be able to finish off. Oh, saves a Crypt Fiend there. Going to be finishing off another archer there, but the Crypt Fiend's taking far too many Fan of Knives attacks as that Warden is almost at level 6, already making their way through. All right, Destroyer unable to devour magic off of that Warden, and I think that is going to be the big issue. Nope, there's that devour magic to prevent it, but now is he going to end up falling for trying to devour the magic and do a little bit of counter healing there? All right, Destroyer not death coiled, even though there was plenty of mana. Not quite sure what that was about, as the Warden still seeing that level 5, perhaps needs to get a bit of mana herself, as the Death Knight now trying to wander away. The Death Knight, if it falls here, that is going to be a tremendous loss, as the Death Knight somehow heals just a little bit. Not quite sure what happened there, as the Lich perhaps going to be able to turn around, get some shots off. We can see a faster movement speed with that Unholy Aura level 2. Warden quickly drinks from the Moonwells, nearly at level 6, and if we have a level 6 Warden before the 15-minute mark, that is just going to shut down that Death Knight, especially when you consider the graveyard is just going to be an open field to try and recruit avatars, those little minions that the Avatar of Vengeance is going to be able to bring forward. Warden no closer to level 6 after clearing that creep camp. You do not gain experience from creeping creeps any longer after level 6. You can see Staff of Teleportation and Invisibility. What is going on here? You really can't get to any higher unless he blinks back over here. Shadow Strikes a ghoul, takes it down, goes into Avatar of Vengeance, and then tries to fight it that way. I can't imagine this all working out the way he wants to go, but the Warden may have level 2 Shadow Strike or level 3. I'm not quite sure what level Fan of Knives he has, or if he even has Blink for a quick escape. All right, Invisibility ready to go still. Off to the north, let's see what's going to be happening next. Dryads finishing off the Fountain of Health. This is just getting him extra gold at this point. Nothing else at all. You can see Claws of Attack plus 6, Belt of Giant Strength, as the Warden is taking her absolute sweet time in figuring out how she wants to play this. This is actually a very, very bad investment. The Warden hasn't done anything for the last, I'd say, 3 minutes. No experience gained, no items added, and no kills whatsoever. That is actually going to hurt even further. Perhaps a Potion of Invulnerability will be purchased here in just a moment. Over here, back to the bottom left, mana being added here. 425 max mana on those Moonwells. Meanwhile, Undead doing a great job. Undead almost at level 4 on the Lich. Meanwhile, we do not see a Naga Sea Witch or any other heroes being added to this army, so it is just going to be a 2-part army here as the Lich moves to focus down that Red Drake. Down it goes. Death Knight, Lich now at level 4. Death Knight sitting at level 4, almost level, or about 2/3 of the way to level 5, and that Warden is finally out on the field, has a Belt of Giant Strength, plenty of hit points as it's gonna go ahead and venture forth inside the base here. What it will really do, I still do not know. Blinks inside. Fan of Knives gets one Acolyte, gets another Acolyte, and now this may be it. Avatar of Vengeance, where are you? I'm not quite sure where you are, but you really need to be in this game right now. As we can see that the Warden is just off to the north, taking down unit after unit. You can see Orb of Venom causing a bit of problems. There's a Fan of Knives, almost finishing off the Ghoul there. Nope. Does he get off a shot on the Ghoul? Yes, it does. As now the Warden still has plenty of mana ready to go. Expansion off over here, getting entangled. Meanwhile, down over here, Ancient of War going to be deflecting a little bit of damage. As we can see, all the Acolytes are now back in the mining game as well. All right, let's see. Avatar Vengeance now being summoned. Not quite sure what this is about. Perhaps going to try and grab some little bit here. Let's take a look at it. There you go. There's the attack. And now this is going to be the upcoming fight. What is going to be happening here? How is this all going to unfold? Warden needs to get in position, but has maximum mana and an Avatar of Vengeance ready to go. Bears are in position here. Any way to really slow down? No slow poison at all. Both sides just in a little bit of a standoff. And I'm not quite sure who's gonna be able to engage and take this all. All right, Death Knight taking a little bit of damage. Nope, already getting healed back up. There's a Fan of Knives. And what is going on? One bear quickly taken down, but the destroyers up in the air. Dryads just pretty much melting them as the destroyers being forced to back off there. So the bears are getting pretty much a free reign onto those Crypt Fiends. There's some engagement now. There goes another bear as we are still seeing an engagement go down here. Death Knight down to 50 hit points. May need to use a Scroll of Healing in just a moment. There goes another Crypt Fiend. Potion of Invulnerability ends, and a Fan of Knives finishes it off. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.